And you're very welcome here to Avon Money Park. Sean McDermott in Carrick and Shannon in lovely sunny conditions here on Sunday the 19th of September for the Senior Championship clash between Leitrim Gaels and Fenagh St. Caillins here in the quarter-final of the Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship here in Leitrim. We're looking at the scenes across the pitch, and as you can see, bathed in sunshine here on the Sunday afternoon. Referee Michael McGurl just doing his final bits of paperwork, literally ahead of the start of this game in just under 5 or 6 minutes time. My name is Breffney Early. Thank you very much for joining us here today. You're very welcome to proceedings, and of course I'm joined by TP McLaughlin, a Fenagh stalwart. TP, exciting game here in two sides that know each other quite well over the years.
Yes, indeed. Thanks very much, Breffney. Both teams have met in the last couple of years, and Fenagh had the edge over that, but that has no reflection on how things may go today. As you said, it's a perfect day, even though you said the conditions were good. I was out on the pitch earlier on, and there is a slight dampness on the grass, which it'll leave the ball being that bit slippery, I'd say, early on, particularly under the stand area here, where the sun isn't that. It may have cleared by now, but looking forward to a good game. Yes, Breffney.
Absolutely. Weather conditions here, of course, yesterday evening, not the best, although also some people would say that it wasn't even the low light of the evening of Gortlettra's unfortunate demise at the hands of Mull, hot favourites for this year's championship. But who's going to join them in that semi-final draw in just a couple hours' time? Will it be Fenagh St. Caillins or will it be Leitrim Gaels? Both sides will fancy their chances of getting through today's fixture. We'll run through the teams with you now. In goals for Fenagh, Shane Doonan is in goals across the full back line. Dan McLaughlin, Owen McLaughlin and Keelan O'Rourke. Across the half-back line is Conor Dwyer, Mark Keegan and Conor McGovern, while Jack Gilheany and Donal Rinn will line out at midfield. Tom Gilheany, Reardon O'Rourke and Aaron Smith across the half-forward line, while Oisin McLaughlin, Ryan O'Rourke and Fergal McLaughlin make up the full forward line for Fenagh St. Caillins. In terms of the Leitrim Gaels team, a couple of changes to the side that was announced before the game, but we'll bring them to you as we go. In goals, number 1, Brendan Flynn. Number 2 is Stephen McDermott. 3, well, at least down as 3, 28 he's wearing on his back, Colin Morton, but we don't expect him to line out at full back. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes before the game throws in here. Aaron McLaughlin at 4 in the cornerback position. James Flynn at 5, David Brown 6, and Shane Finn 27 in to replace Daniel O'Sullivan at wing back. Sean Chandler and Conor Guckian make up the midfield pairing, although we do expect to see Colin Morton somewhere in there over the course of the 60 minutes or so today. Jack Flynn, Stephen Goldrick and Ewan Tracy across the half forward line, while Aidan Flynn captains the side from corner forward. Enda Morton and 17 Shane Rinn comes in for Oisin Curley in that position. So as we said, we can't really see Colin Morton staying around the full back line. We'd expect to see maybe Sean Chandler or James Flynn take that position. TP, would that be your assessment?
Yes, I imagine James Flynn, he's a natural full back there. He's played full back through the last couple of seasons. Definitely Morton, you'd see him go to the middle of the field where he's been dominant in the last few games there. His fielding from kick-outs and that are exceptional. So I would see that unless Sean Chandler goes back there as a mark and roll on either Ryan or Reardon O'Rourke. That's the only reason I could see them dropping back there.
Absolutely. Sean Chandler comes back into that starting 15 for the first time this year. Had emigrated and came home ahead of the championship and back in a probably unexpected role with Leitrim Gaels this year. But he will be a huge addition to their defence, which misses Liam Morton today. Suspended, of course, picked up a straight red card in the last group game, and he will miss today's action. The toss has been done. Both captains in for a conversation with the ref and to just do the formalities there. We saw Aidan Flynn and Donal Rinn go in there, and it looks to be a changing of ends as Brendan Flynn just gets the message from the match referee Michael McGurl that he's actually in the opposite goal. So the team's just going to flip through, although Fenagh have come in for a huddle now, which now looks like Leitrim Gaels are going to copy. Just as we get proceedings underway here, a couple of players haven't quite got the memo that there's a huddle going on for Leitrim Gaels, although they're not really quite sure what they're doing at the moment. But Fenagh very united in their front here today, and really they come into this as the favourites based, I suppose, on the performances so far in the championship. You won't like that down in Fenagh, TP. You won't be looking forward to the favourites tag.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone that's going to these matches will consider that Fenagh would be a favourite. It's always been a tough battle, and even last year it went down to a couple of goal chances that Leitrim missed halfway through the second half. Fenagh went down and scored at the other end, and that was the difference to pull away in the end. But very little between both teams there, so it'll be a ding-dust battle. As I say, it's the business end of the championship now, and the gloves are off, so it's all or nothing today from now on.
Absolutely. Of course, these two sides did meet at this stage in last year's championship, and they'll both be looking, well, Fenagh will be looking to repeat that performance last year. They won on a scoreline of 2-14 to 1-8. Fairly comprehensive victory. 9 points the difference last year. I don't see it being that wide this year. I think it's going to be a much more competitive affair, but we will wait and see over the next 60 minutes or so as Michael McGurl gets ready to start the ball here and throw the ball in, and it's in and up goes Colin Morton, but Donald Rinn wins that one. He knocks down to Jack Gilheeney, but it ends up in the hands of Morton as he battles with Tom Gilheeney there and gets the free. Referee not quite sure what direction he's going, but he's got himself sorted now, and Morton sends that ball down long towards his brother. Enda Morton takes the ball. Will he keep it in play? He does. He gets back up into possession, and he's up against Conor Dwyer. Conor Dwyer put him under pressure. Morton gets a chance to settle himself, shoots, but it goes to the left and wide, and the first effort on goal drifts left, drifts wide. Hopefully not a sign of things to come, TP.
Well, maybe depends what side you're on, I suppose. But I just noticed
we're unbiased today, TP.
That Aaron McLaughlin has gone back into full back. We didn't expect that to mark Ryan O'Rourke. I just noticed that. Yeah,
so he will be in there. Aaron McLaughlin, obviously one of the more experienced players on that Leitrim Gaels side. Some good young talented players coming through. A couple of county under-20s from this year. Jack Flynn in there as well, and he's hoping to make an impact. Shane Rinn now on the ball. He plays it inside to the centre forward Stephen Goldrick. That's a great challenge from Goldrick, and he plays it on outside there to Ewan Tracy. Has a shot from the far side, and that's gone to the left of the post and wide. For a second attempt for Leitrim Gaels, gone to the wrong side of the post from their point of view. In terms of this now, we're back with Shane Doonan. He's just going to set the ball to get ready for the kick out, but the players grouping together just outside the D, and no real obvious short kick out available for any of the Fenagh players to capitalise on, but you get the feeling there's a training ground move in here where there's going to make a burst. Referee blowing the whistle, not quite, and here we go. We see movement, and that's a great ball out there. As far as O'Rourke picks up the ball. Reardon, of course, finds Jack Gilheeney. On to the brother Tom Gilheeney, and out here now to Conor McGovern on the outside, inside again to O'Rourke, and O'Rourke Reardon. Challenge well. Reardon running into traffic, but deemed to have overcarried the ball, and it's going to be a free to Leitrim Gaels. Jack Flynn takes a quick, gives to James Flynn, no relation, and now to David Brown. Has been impressive in the game so far this year. Shane Rinn very deep, collects the ball back to Brown again, outside on the far side. Brown looking for someone ahead of him, nothing really obvious on it. He plays it across here to Jack Flynn. Jack Flynn now with a bit of space ahead of him in front of the pitch to move into. He plays it down long, but it's going to be 2 versus 1. Can Ewan Tracy win that battle? He can't. And we're going to break to a Fenagh man, and it comes away. And it looks to be Conor Dwyer there in a battle to get the ball. He comes away with it really well. Worked by Conor Dwyer to Gilheeney and back to Dwyer again, and he started the move, and now he's going to carry it forward. He's got open space ahead of him. Conor Guckian coming to close him down. The ball goes in diagonally into Ryan Rourke. Ryan comes out. Will he take a shot on? He well marshalled here at the back.
3 men in front of him.
3 Leitrim Gaels players, as you said, TP, and he's inside now to cousin Reardon. Turns on the left foot. That's a great opening shot, and will it go inside the post? It will. A great score from Reardon O'Rourke, his first score of the game, and it's 1 point to Fenagh. No score as yet to Leitrim Gaels, and it shows the difference between the sides we've seen all through this championship. Fenagh have taken their chances in their games, and Leitrim Gaels was a little bit wasteful, so they'll be hoping to improve on that performance so far. Great kick out there from Benny Flynn, good distance onto Colin Morton, well won by Donald Rinn though, and he knocks it down, looked to be off the ground, but the referee not interested, plays on Jack Gilheeney now. Look to Donald Rinn, he protects the ball well and gets it off to Tom Gilheeney, and he's on the attack. He has open space. Can he get it across? A diagonal ball in, but it's going to go, unfortunately, for Fenagh to the left and wide. A good opportunity there for Fenagh, but it just comes to nothing for them.
Yes, see there immediately when Ryan Rourke got the ball in there was 3 Leitrim Gaels men out straight away around him. So that's obviously they've picked him as the danger man in there, and they're giving him very little space. But he done well to get possession off to Reardon to get the score over the bar.
Absolutely, and Brendan Flynn again, usually fairly reliable with kickouts. He's a lovely technique. Doesn't really seem to put much effort in there at all. And again, this time Jack Gilheeney breaks it down over Conor Guckian's head, and it falls to Jack Flynn. David Brown takes the ball off him, but gets fouled by Tom Gilheeney in the process. David Brown now short to Shane Rinn. Shane Rinn again could have been done for hands on the ground, but he gets away with it, and he's surrounded by 4 Fenagh players. Comes back to David Brown, out here to Aidan Flynn. Aidan Flynn, that's a great battle, and he ends up getting the ball. I'm not quite sure how he got out of it, but he gets the free there from a foul on Fergal McLaughlin. And we look at Aidan just picking himself up gingerly there. The referee going in to have a word with McLaughlin. Yeah, we've said that before, I'm sure, in your career, TP.
Yes, I've heard it said. Again, this one for Stevie McGoldrick there. Well within his range, I think.
Absolutely, just inside the 45-metre line on the far side of the pitch. Aidan Flynn looks to be potentially a blood injury. He's coming off the pitch with Charlene Tyrrell herself. Of course, fine performance this morning for Muhull ladies. They had a surprise, I think, result. They drew with county champions Glencar Manor Hamilton in that game this morning, and she was an integral part of that. But now Aidan Flynn back onto the pitch off picture as Stephen Goldrick looks to have a shot on target here. And another Leitrim Gaels man has been sent off the pitch. I think it's actually the blood substitution that came in has been asked to leave. He hasn't even been on for a minute of the game. Michael McGurl, just trying to sort out some bits and pieces. Maybe that injury hasn't been properly taken care of. Aidan Flynn leaves the pitch again. So a little bit of uncertainty here. Will Oisin Curley come back on? Is Oisin Curley comes back on as a blood sub? That's a bit of a strange one. He goes on and off and on before he kicks the ball.
Obviously the blood wasn't cleared up off the face or whatever the injury was. And it's curling nicely, but it's going to go to the lift again, and it's wide.
And Stephen Goldrick has left that chance behind him. So it's still no score to Leitrim Gaels, 1 point to Fenagh St. Caillins. Quite a low scoring game here today, but plenty of opportunities so far. Leitrim Gaels will be eager to get their captain back on the pitch as quickly as possible. But that kick out from Shane Doonan ends up in the hands of Dan McLaughlin, and he carries it forward. Little 1-2 there on the far side of it, and a nice little, I wouldn't even know what to call it, a ballet move almost from McLaughlin down in the far corner. But Tom Gilheany now, and he's played in Caillin O'Rourke. Caillin O'Rourke moving down the far side. He's closed down by David Brune. Back to Gilheany. And back inside to his brother Jack. Jack now with options ahead of him. He plays it right over here on this side of the pitch to Colin McGovern. McGovern has plenty of space ahead of him, and he's going to take it into there. And Reardon O'Rourke now with time and a little bit of a space to shoot, but it's gone to the left and wide, and that'll be a score. A bit wasteful in here from Fenagh St. Caillins. They'll be hoping to obviously keep that to a minimum today as we proceed through the game. Yeah,
probably a little bit ambitious from that position there now, but probably could have recycled it again. But as I say, he felt the shot was on and he had a go at it. So.
Absolutely, and we're back to a full complement again as Aidan Flynn replaces Oisin Curley again. That's the second time now he's had to leave the pitch for running repairs, and he should be okay. He's back in towards him, but it's going to be Colin Morton, but it breaks on the Fenagh side, and it's Dan McLaughlin again. He runs into green wall there, back to Jack Gilheany. Gilheany plays a lovely ball into Reardon O'Rourke, well gathered by O'Rourke, and he's got Donal Rinn running off him. He cuts back inside, and it's going to be Rinn again looking for something to do, and he just hits a Leitrim Gaels man every single time the ball comes in. But that's a great ball in towards Ryan O'Rourke. He's got a bit of space. He's got a yard on him, and he's got a great chance, and he's put it wide. And that is a let-off for Leitrim Gaels.
Yeah, but I would have felt that he'd been impeded when he was going round the man there. Definitely it was hands on him. But he got the advantage and just went for the top corner, but just out to the right-hand side of the post.
Yeah, big moment in the game there for Fenagh St. Caillins, and will they come to regret that later in the game? But O'Rourke, great, as you see in the replay there, a fabulous opportunity for him to put the first goal of the game and put a bit of daylight between the sides at this early stage. It's great hands from Colin Morton, takes it down, but he can't keep possession, and it falls for Jack Gilheany. Finds brother Tom outside to Cillian O'Rourke on the far side, and inside to Mark Keegan. He's been impressive for Fenagh this year, and that's another opportunity maybe for a referee to give a foul for a touch on the ground, but ref says no interest in that one, and he plays it back outside here. It's going to fall back to Fenagh again, and they're making good movement down the right hand side here. It's 12 Fenagh. Aaron Smith inside to Reardon O'Rourke. Reardon O'Rourke, he's looking to make something happen here. Two men in, Marshalling, cousin Ryan, and Ryan can't quite get some space or make himself free. 15 for Fenagh as Fergal McLaughlin comes back out to him. A big effort from McLaughlin, and that's a fantastic score. A great score for McLaughlin. 2 points to Fenagh now, and he'll be happy with that one. He's been relatively quiet in the championship so far, but a big day, he could be a deciding factor in this game.
Yeah, but there is trademark scores from around the 45 there. He's got a few. I see that Leitrim Gaels have addressed the danger of Ryan Rourke inside. James Flynn dropping back now as a sweeper right in front of Ryan after that goal attempt there. So they've took action straight away on that.
And Aaron McLaughlin looking to get a bit of freedom there, but tracked well by Ryan O'Rourke. So nothing short for Leitrim Gaels as it comes out long towards Conor Guckian, and he goes up and catches the ball, lets it drop, and Donal Rinn gets it clear, but it's going to break on the side of Leitrim Gaels, and that's number 27, Shane Finn, who's just out-muscled, but it's going to be a Fenagh sideline ball from the far side, and it comes back to midfield. A great ball back to Tom Gilheany now, a bit of space, and the game starts to open up ahead of him, and Back inside here to Dan McLaughlin. Dan looking for options down in front of him. Great ball, but a push maybe on the back there. Yes. And indeed it is. Stephen McDermott judged to have fouled Oisin McLaughlin there on that side, and it's going to be a free in for Fenagh. And you'd fancy anyone really from the Fenagh side. They've got so many people who could take this, whether we'll see Ryan O'Rourke come over for the Reardon potentially here taking this.
So Oisin, he's a naturally left-footed kicker, so maybe it's a perfect angle for him there.
But Fenagh do have such a list of free takers. Oisin, Ryan, Reardon, Donal Rinn, anything past the 45 as well. You can't concede frees like this against Fenagh. They will punish you for it. So Oisin McLaughlin now with the approach, and he's going to swing the left boot at that. And as you said, a great effort there. Umpire comes out and indicates it's gone to the right and wide, and that's a disappointment for Fenagh. The score remains 2 points to no score here in Avon Money Park. Sean McDermott in this quarter-final clash between these two sides, and we've talked about the rivalry between them over the years. They all seem to have been in each other's way, and as you mentioned, it's nearly always gone the way of Fenagh on the big days, whether it's intermediate games over the years or the senior championship quarter-final last year. Do you think the Leitrim Gaels, that'll be a hoodoo around their neck, or will they be happy to maybe challenge that today?
Yeah, they may use it as to drive them on, to give them a bit of an incentive that this is the year they can take Fenagh. Maybe they'll use it that way either. It depends.
You know, we've got a moment here where Donal Rinn just took too long over that sideline ball. Michael McGurl not happy, and he's thrown the ball up. And this is probably one of those rare occasions where you actually see a contest where the two guys in midfield actually going, I'm going to go and contest and win this. The two big men, Donal Rinn and Colin Morton, probably two of the best men in the county for those jump balls. And Morton won that one. It's broken down on the Leitrim Gaels side.
Fascinating battle between the two of them, all right, yeah. And
Morton here now in possession again, been dispossessed by Mark Keegan, but judged to have been illegal. And we'll come back to Morton again for the opportunity here as well. And Michael McGurl has had a good handle on this game so far.
Yes,
Morton, good ball down here into Aidan Flynn. Aidan Flynn catches it well. He's away from the Fenagh man and he backs away. And great chance for a score here for Leitrim Gaels. It's their opening score of the game. And the captain leads by example. He read that really well. And now he's come together with Dan McLaughlin back there. The two of them, I'm not quite sure what that's about. But Aidan will take it. He's got the score on the board.
Yes, it was a good possession there, good catch over his head there, and a perfect finish.
And the kick out now from Shane Doonan out towards the Fenagh on the far side. It's broken on the hands of Colin McGovern. He's under pressure here, but he gets the ball back and back out towards Donal Rinn, or Jack Gilheany, in fact, and Mark Keegan now in possession out to the fullback, Owen McLaughlin. And now Fenagh on the attack again, and it's in towards Oisin McLaughlin. Oisin wins that well. No real easy ball there. He's under pressure from Colin Morton, but he gets a solo and gets away from Morton and puts it in for Ryan O'Rourke, and he's read that really well. Which of the O'Rourke cousins is going to get to that? It's going to be Ryan, and gets it out to Reardon. Reardon trying to get it back in for a chance to shoot, and that's a great block by James Flynn, and it breaks to Sean Chandler. First time we've heard Sean mentioned in the game. He's been very quiet, but he gets it to his midfield partner, Colin Morton. Although Sean not playing at midfield, although he's wearing a Union Tracy now on the right hand side. Jinkson dives round players, looking for an option inside. Chandler makes himself available, but Tracy keeps the ball and goes towards David Brune instead. David Brune back to Colin Morton. Colin Morton again this side of the field, looking for that characteristic long sideline ball. It gives it to Aidan Flynn in a battle with the Fenagh man, and it gets it back to Colin Morton again. Morton pauses as the referee blows the whistle. Aidan Flynn on the ground, but he has been given the free by Michael McGurl. I didn't quite see the foul in there, but obviously it was something that happened after he passed the ball.
Yeah, he seemed to indicate that Jack Gilheany pushed him with the hand, but I didn't see it myself there now. So it's a good chance here now for Leitrim Gaels to tie up the game.
Yeah, Flynn just getting a bit more treatment, and he's already been off as a blood sub for a couple of minutes earlier in the game after an impact, and potentially maybe bleeding again. Just getting a bit of attention there from the physiotherapist, Charlene Terrell. As the referee comes over to take a look at it. It's been a bright start to the game so far, just a few minutes shy of the water break. What would you be saying to your team if you were on either bench now, TP?
Yeah, well, it's going as we thought. It was going to be a tight game. The scoring is low. Fenagh had probably the best goal opportunity of the two teams. But as I say, Leitrim Gaels are starting to get their defenders back quicker now. After that, they seem to have red alerted that one. And Stephen Goldrick seems to have found the target with that one. Yes, that ties it up 2 points apiece. Yeah,
great score for Stephen Goldrick there. Adds the one from Aidan Flynn just a couple of moments ago. We're level here in 14 minutes into this quarter-final in the Connacht Senior Football Championship here on LeitrimGA.ie on the live stream here. it's a great kick out there from Shane Doolan. It's going to be one pushing the back there definitely by Leitrim cornerback Aaron McLaughlin. Seem to play on though, and now we've got Tom Gilheeney in towards Donald Rinn, but it's a loose pass and it's broken to Oisin McLaughlin. What can he do? He's got free from cornerback, but I'm not quite sure where the foul was there. But
I think there's a tug on the jersey there, I think.
It's going to be a free in for Fenagh, and you'd expect Oisin McLaughlin, once the referee has done his little bit of housekeeping, no card issued, just a name taken against Stephen McDermott. It's going to be an opportunity now for Oisin McLaughlin to put Fenagh back in the lead in this game. 2 points apiece at the moment as we see a shimmy and a strike from McLaughlin, and that's a great score. Puts Fenagh back in the lead. They now lead 3 points to 2. And there's a bit of a chat between Reardon O'Rourke and Oisin McLaughlin, maybe comparing techniques, but I think both men know where the score is and how to get that ball across the goal, and looks to be in for the water break now as Leitrim Gaels head to the far side of the pitch. We haven't seen that in the championship so far this year. A team taking the far side of the pitch here in Park Sean McDermott. What's the strategy maybe behind that, TP?
Well, all I can see is that at least the managers and that have better time to think, and that when you're along the stand side here, there's an awful lot of advisors in the crowd, as you can well imagine. So they've probably a clearer view on what's happening on the pitch and be able to talk to the players, get the messages out there more clear to what to do on that. It's calmer over there, calmer atmosphere on that. So that's the reason I'd say for why they're over there.
When you say advisors, you don't mean mentors either. I can imagine everyone's an expert when it comes to Championship Sunday. And here we are. It's the third quarter final of the weekend. Of course, Muhull and St Mary's Kiltarhart have already booked their place in that semi-final draw later this evening. Manorhamilton and Ballinamore, Sean Hestlins will do battle later on. That game thrown in at 4:30 here. John Lynch and Martin McGowan will be with you for that fixture later on leitrimga.ie. Don't forget to tune in here in terms of that. But today it's all about Fenagh, St Caillins and Leitrim Gaels. And Fenagh have the edge at the first water break here. It's 3 points to 2. Quite a low scoring game. There was one great opportunity, if you're joining us late, for Ryan O'Rourke to find the back of the net, but his effort just sailed to the right of the goal and wide, a bit high and wide from him, but he'll be disappointed with that finish. But it shows what he can create if you give him that bit of space at all in the opportunity. And he's been well marshalled at the back there by a combination of James Flynn and Aaron McLaughlin as well at the back for Leitrim Gaels. So we're going to restart the game now with a Brendan Flynn kick out. It'll be interesting to see now what impact what the managers have said and the various sides will have on the teams for the next 15 minutes or so in the second half of this first half contest. Good kick out there from Brendan Flynn, and he's got wide out there on the right is Shane Rinn, it looks like, on the far side, and he's got an opportunity to get a run in here. He likes to attack a team, and he finds Shane Finn outside him, and it's going to be back inside here to David Brune. David Brune has been the playmaker for Leitrim Gaels all season. Takes on Tom Gilheeney, but then cuts back and goes again to recycle the possession, and he's got opportunities outside him. Colin Morton gives him support behind, and now Morton's got the chance to pick Aidan Flynn out on the far side of the pitch and under the stand here on the near side. Aidan Flynn now looking towards the corner, and he's got an opportunity to get past the Fenagh man, but he's taken out of it. But he's keep going back to Enda Morton. Enda Morton now with the opportunity to create something here for Leitrim Gaels, gets a shot in, but it's going to go high and wide in there, but it's gone over the bar.
Yes,
and that's
came in at the last minute. Yes, an excellent score.
Very hard to tell when it's from that angle, but a great score there from Enda Morton. He'll be very happy with that. It didn't look like it was that threatening or was going to go that way, but he had the range and he had the accuracy, and he's levelled the scores here again as Shane Doonan prepares to kick out again here. Comes out high towards Aaron McLaughlin. Aaron McLaughlin in a foot race now with Fergal McLaughlin, and it's Donald Rinn who wins that. Looks to almost get caught at the last minute there, or maybe pull a hamstring even. He just looked to pull himself up at one stage there in that. I'm not sure if he got caught by his ankle or if it was just a muscle injury, but we're going to have a look at that from a St. Caillins point of view, because he would be an absolutely massive loss if he had done some damage there in that sprint for that ball.
Yes, it would be definitely a big concern for the Fenagh bench. It looks like it could be a hamstring, actually.
Yeah,
that's what he's looking at the minute.
He just pulled up in that sprint a little bit towards the end. He still managed to get there, but I think that will be a worry for Joe Flynn down here beneath us on the Fenagh bench. And there's a little bit of a conversation going on between the selectors down there. I know Conor Silk and Cormac Flynn, Joe's brother, and Tommy Smith, the mentors there with Fenagh St. Caillins. They'll be hoping to keep the likes of Donald Rinn on the pitch, because he's so integral to what they do particularly when you've got opposition like Conor Guckian and particularly Colin Morton there at the middle of the field, who can catch balls out of every situation.
He's up, but he doesn't look that comfortable. But hopefully he'll be all right. As I say, a day like today with Colin Morton around the middle of the field and Michael Guckian there, it's of crucial importance that Donald stays on the pitch.
Yeah, it's interesting. Now we keep going again. Here's Reardon O'Rourke inside to Tom Gilheeney. Gilheeney back to O'Rourke, and O'Rourke back outside here to Dan McLaughlin. Dan McLaughlin, a little bit of time, has a shot, but that's going to go to the right and wide. And again, another opportunity goes begging for Fenagh St. Caillins.
Yeah, I think that's 4 wides now for Fenagh to 3 for Leitrim Gaels. So it's pretty even all round on that score.
Yeah, so the kick out now. Leitrim have gone along with their kick out so far, and it's back out here towards Conor Guckian, and he's up with Donal Rinn. Guckian gets the possession, fouled in the process, and free given by Michael McGurl. Quickly taken to David Brown. David Brown under pressure immediately, surrounded by red and black jerseys, and he's got an opportunity to get through to Shane Rinn. Shane Rinn again, like as we said, likes to run the ball, but he runs straight into Dan O'Sullivan there, who wins possession, and then it's Stephen Goldrick who takes a heavy impact there from the Fenagh player. The referee reaching for the notebook, and Tom Gilheeney is the one who's going to be spoken to here. Michael McGurl will have a chat with him, and a heavy impact, but I'm not sure there was much malice in it. I think it just they kind of came together, but there could be a potential of maybe a card here. It looks like it's going to be a yellow card for Tom Gilheeney. He's not happy with it, but he doesn't have much of a say.
No, he may have went for the ball there. Just this time, this tackle more so than anything else. As you said, there was no malice in it, but this is from the 45-metre line straight in front of the goal. So.
You'd expect Stephen Goldrick to come up and take that, although we've now been arrived by Brendan Flynn. He scored in most of the games so far for Leitrim Gaels, and we'll fancy his chances off the ground here. He has that lovely technique that we see from kickouts for both Leitrim Gaels and for the county, of course, in recent seasons, and well able to hit the range from here, but it's the accuracy sometimes lets him down, but he has had, I think, 3 or 4 points in the championship so far this year. It's something we're seeing more of, these goalkeepers. Stephen Cluxton started a trend about a decade ago. I saw it pop up on Facebook during the week 10 years ago, since he scored that point in injury time to win an All-Ireland. And every goalkeeper fancies themselves at it now. But we've seen a few goalkeepers in Leitrim this year have hit the headlines for scoring from wide range. Brendan Flynn now, great technique, as we said. Yes. And there we are, another score for him. He's ahead of some of the forwards in the county in terms of scoring this year.
Yes, he's an excellent striker of the ball from off the ground there, and he proved it again there, straight down the middle, no swerving it, just straight over the bar.
Yeah, Leitrim Gaels now take the lead for the first time in the game as Shane Rinn gets over there but can't get there ahead of the Fenagh player, and it's going to be a free to Fenagh. Looks to be Tom Gilheeney himself now. The foulee becomes the fouler, or the fouler becomes the foulee as it breaks on the Leitrim Gaels side. David Brown on the far side making good progress down there despite the attention of Caillins O'Rourke, and it gets a ball in, but it's going to go well to the left and wide. I'm not quite sure will it even reach we can't see in the camera angle here, but it's gone out for a kick out here. It must have gone out just before the corner, but it will be a kick out here for Shane Doonan as he prepares to restart the game here for Fenagh. And they seem to have this little technique where all the players clump together and make bursts, but hasn't quite worked today for either side for the short kickouts, and they've been forced to go long more often than not. Tom Gilheeney gets that breaking ball. Fantastic work there from the Fenagh man, and he plays it out here to Reardon O'Rourke, but Reardon misjudges that, probably came in a little bit too close. Ball now going to beat them to the sideline. It does cross the line, and the linesman's flag goes up here. Kevin Mallon on the near side is the linesman, while Martin Feeney is on the other side line for the officials today. James Flynn plays to Colin Morton. Colin Morton back here to Stephen McDermott, and he plays it inside to Conor Guckian. Conor Guckian now on the attack looks to get David Brown on the playmaking duties, and he looks to find Shane Rinn. Shane Rinn now making progress down the right hand side of the pitch. Ewan Tracy now looking to get the ball back to Rinn again, does so, but he puts ahead of him, and Rinn just doesn't quite catch that ball, and it's going to trickle out to the right of the posts, and that's a disappointing way for the attack to peter out for Leitrim Gaels.
It's a good opportunity for Leitrim Gaels that a man, I think it was Sean Chandler, was coming in with the ball there, just to miss-hit the hand pass, just overdone it.
I may have accused Ewan Tracy in the wrong. Apologies for that. It was indeed Sean Chandler over there. It's a great catch there in midfield for David Brown, and he's really grown into this midfield role, or this centre-back role with Leitrim Village this year, and he's really shown what he's capable of. I know he was in with the county this year, but didn't really get much of a chance really with the county this year, but would probably be someone you'd fancy to feature in the county squad if he's available over the next couple of years, as Brendan Flynn makes his way up again to go for a second shot in a row. it's more or less the same distance out, about 42, 43 metres out to the far side of the pitch. And now there's shouts from the crowd here of how long as Brendan takes his time getting up to that. But I think you have to give people the opportunity to get up if he's the free taker.
I think so, and it can be added on at the end of the half anyhow, I suppose. That's what's done there.
Yeah, so Brendan now finally gets himself ready to hit this, and his left foot again expected to threaten the goal of the Fenagh. And now he has decided the shouts are right, and I think that's probably something that, and Brendan kicks it away, and would be lucky maybe not to see himself in the book for that. Those kind of petulant kind of little outbursts. It's a throw up now between these two again. We've talked about it before, Colin Morton and Donal Rinn, and maybe it's a good challenge between the two. Mickey McGurl just playing with them. He throws the ball up to himself. Now it's got in, and it's broken down on the Fenagh side, and Jack Gilheeney comes away with the ball, and I think there was almost a push of Aidan Flynn into Jack Gilheeney there, but it comes back to Gilheeney. He plays it over here to Colin McGovern. McGovern now looking for options ahead of him, and a nice little couple of hand passes there in midfield for Fenagh as it comes over here again, and inside to Reardon O'Rourke. Reardon O'Rourke now gets turned. Can Jack Flynn slow him down? He manages to force him just to go back again towards Gilheeney now, Jack Gilheeney, and over towards his midfield partner Donal Rinn. Donal Rinn plays the ball out here to number 5, Conor Dwyer for Fenagh. Back inside again to Oisin McLaughlin. What can Oisin create here for Fenagh? Reardon O'Rourke available, but not. Comes back Donal Rinn. That's a long effort in there. It's going to drop short though, I think. It's going to drop into. It's comes off the crossbar, and a great reaction from James Flynn saves Leitrim Gaels, because that could have gone anywhere if it had fallen to Reardon O'Rourke. And it comes back down to David Brown. David Brown in possession now, looking for options, but all his options shut down. Well done, Sean Chandler, giving him an option there through the middle, and comes over to Stephen McDermott as he approaches halfway. Conor Guckian in front of him creates a space and gets around the Fenagh challenge, and a long ball in towards Enda Morton. What's going to happen here? And that's a fantastic goal for Leitrim Gaels. Enda Morton had one little look over his shoulder, saw the goalkeeper wasn't going to make it, and just a little flick of the wrist, and it's back into the back of the net, and Leitrim Gaels take control of this game. It's 1-4 to 3 points to Leitrim Gaels. About 5 minutes to go in this first half.
Yes, it just shows you from one into the other off the bar in the Leitrim Gaels goals, and then a fine goal for.
And now it's on Fenagh's decided. The ball is broken, and Jack Gilheeney. It's got 5-on-4 here as the ball comes into Reardon O'Rourke. Reardon fancies chances, goes round the Leitrim Gaels challenge, but that could be a foot block. It's come back to. Oh wow, what a save from Brendan Flynn, and 2 opportunities there for Fenagh, and that's a fantastic save from Brendan Flynn in the end to keep that ball out of the back of the net, because both Fenagh looked like they were going to score there, and yes, really it would have been a great chance to reply.
They had the numbers there, I think, on the way in on that, but Leitrim Gaels funneled back and closed it down. But it'll be interesting to see that one again, as they say.
I think that moment has passed as the 45 is getting changed here. There's a change on the Fenagh side, and Aaron McLaughlin is coming in for Caillin O'Rourke. Of course, Aaron McLaughlin a name on both sides now, as there's one on the Fenagh team, but there's also an Aaron McLaughlin on the Leitrim Gaels side. We'll try not to confuse you with that, but that's the first change, the first proper change of the game, as it just wasn't happening for Caillin O'Rourke there. So he's been replaced by Aaron McLaughlin here in the 25th minute of the game before half time. Strange to see players getting changed so early in the game. We don't tend to see that a lot.
Yes, that's and there was, unless Caillin had some sort of injury there or something, there was nothing. That's not going to make it, I don't think. No, that's pulled wide. Donald is normally good for them 45s, but that was just pulled to the left and wide. Yeah,
disappointing there for Donal Rinn as he saw his effort going, just didn't quite get the connection he might have hoped for on that one.
No, and Fenagh probably could have done with a score there now, just coming up to half time to reel it back in. There's 4 points between them now, which is in a low scoring game is a good distance.
Yeah, great kick out there from Brendan Flynn, and Donal Rinn well up there, and he gets a touch but can't keep possession, but it breaks down on the same side for Fenagh. Colin McGovern now looking into Jack Gilheeney. Jack Gilheeney towards Reardon O'Rourke. He's got players offside, and McGovern hit Michael McGurl there. I'm not quite sure whether.
I think that.
I'm not quite sure if it was the pass hit McGurl or McGurl got in the way, but either way, it's throw up now.
Yeah, I think they're in that situation. The advantage was still with Fenagh, so they probably could have.
And we go back for, I think this is the 3rd or 4th time we've seen this hot ball between these two, and it gets more interesting every time. Will McGurl get it up between them? He does this time, and not playing it with himself this time, and turns over to the other side, and it comes back to Tom Gilheeney. Gilheeney with a bit of space now, looking to generate something to his brother Tom, or Jack, over to Donal Rinn. Donal Rinn looking for an option, back to Jack Gilheany again. Gilheany so comfortable on the ball, and he plays it back here to the substitute Aaron McLaughlin, over to Aaron Smith, I think, on the far side. And it's Donal Rinn again, number 9 for Fenagh St. Caillins. So integral to everything they do. Jack Gilheany looking for a play, but he finds only Sean Chandler or David Brune maybe back there, and now it's Aidan Flynn. Aidan Flynn looking now towards Colin Morton, looking to get possession. He takes the ball and he gets the ball now comfortably over to David Brune, and a chance for Leitrim Gaels to settle down and see if they can build an attack from here. Sean Chandler on the far side, he's wearing 8 in his back, but he's playing wing forward over and into Aidan Flynn, captain of the team. He scored the first point. He gets past the challenge of the Fenagh player and inside to Enda Morton. Enda Morton drops the ball, managed to gather it, but it's got to be Fenagh who come away with it, and that's great defensive work back there by Conor Dwyer of Fenagh. And not quite sure what happened. That's got to be a free out for the push, and Michael McGurl agrees, and it's quickly taken as far as Jack Gilheany. Jack Gilheany now looking to get something out of this for Fenagh. He checks his run and comes back, and the referee saw a double hop there. I'm not quite sure I did, but
yes, it was. He seemed to be sure that was. I didn't see it myself there, but
he has given the free kick into Leitrim Gaels, who seem nearly as surprised as anybody to have received it. But Colin Morton there now, but James Flynn now potentially coming up to be a little bit quicker than his brother was a couple of minutes ago, and looks to be taking this free, and he will set himself here now and have a shot at goal. He's scored a couple of these long range frees in the championship so far this year. As you mentioned, more traditionally a full back for the club, but playing a wing back over the last few games as the 4 minutes goes up board to say there'll be 4 minutes of injury time, so about 5 minutes left in the half here as James Flynn hits that. Didn't quite get a true strike, but that's got to be a foul, and I'd be surprised not to see a card come out of the referee's book here, because Owen just kind of seemed to catch him and pull him down, and potentially a black card offence, but I think we might even not see a card at all. Referee seems to happy not to leave the card in the...
Yeah, I didn't see any there now for that one. But
well, you wouldn't, TP. He's your son.
Yeah, we blind.
There's a bit of bias coming out now, but that is Stephen Goldrick.
It's been punished anyhow, so that's the ultimate punishment for Leitrim Gaels, I suppose. There, that puts them up 5 points now, and it's looking this time Fenagh have to do something to try and pull back this lead now before half time.
Yeah, and now we have Stephen Goldrick with his second point of the day as Shane Doonan prepares for another kick out. Comes out towards midfield, and that's great work there by Fenagh, but it's broken down on the Leitrim Gaels side, and Donal Rinn had got the first touch but just couldn't hold possession as Colin Morton sends the ball back in towards his brother Enda under pressure, catches that ball. What a mark. It's a great piece of fielding from Leitrim Gaels as Enda Morton wins the ball, but the referee, I'm not quite sure what happened there, but I think they called the mark and then Fenagh didn't step away, so he's moved it on 13 metres. Or it was a foul that he's brought on 13 metres, but it has been brought in, and Stephen Goldrick looks to be ready to have another crack at the posts here as he just gets the ball up. And a fairly windy day, but it hasn't seemed to have affected the shooters, and in most instances we've seen some very impressive long range shots today. TV.
Yes, the shooting has been quite good now, and as I say, we hope we don't jinx it here for Stephen, and indeed it's another good point for him. That
his third point of the day. It's 1-6 to 3 points here in favour of Leitrim Gaels. They lead by 6 points with 3 minutes left of the 4 that were announced, at least 3 minutes, shall we say, of the 4 that were announced for Leitrim Gaels to hold on to this lead for half-time. And Fenagh will be looking to get something just to bring into the half-time team talk with them to give themselves something to build on for that second half. But it's probably not reflective of the game we've seen so far, but it's back on the Fenagh side, and a touch there from Shane Rinn, but it's going to end up in the hands of Donal Rinn on the opposing side. Donal Rinn with options outside, and back to Jack Gilheany, and he finds his brother Tom out here on the far side. Tom now with a little bit of space, put under pressure by Aidan Flynn. Tom Gilheany's going to have a go though, and he pushes Aidan Flynn off, looks to make a bit of space for himself, plays it back here towards Dan McLaughlin. Dan McLaughlin back inside here towards Jack Gilheany, and over to the far side to Owen McLaughlin on the far side. Owen McLaughlin having a little bit of a run here. Back to Mark Keegan. Keegan looking to create something, and inside to Owen McLaughlin, who seems to fall over, but he's done really, really well there. And Oisin McLaughlin and Ryan O'Rourke, and what a fantastic opportunity for Ryan O'Rourke to cut the lead. But unfortunately, that ball has gone to the right and wide. And I tell you, there's a lovely little move there by Owen McLaughlin in the middle of that really created something out of nothing. He seemed to lose his balance just here as we watch it on the replay. He lost his balance and still managed to get the ball out brilliant piece of work there, but just Ryan O'Rourke, just to finish, let him down, and it's disappointing for Fenagh to have that miss.
Yes, that would have been a real pick up there for Fenagh just before half time to bring it back, but it's still, at least they're showing that they're still creating the chances.
Sean Chandler missed the opportunity to claim a mark, but has kept possession on the Leitrim Gaels team. Plays it into Shane Rinn. Shane Rinn turns and looks to create something here. A long ball in there towards, going to end up in the hands of Enda Morton if he gets there ahead of the Fenagh man, but he doesn't, and it's going to be Conor Dwyer forced out over the end line. That's going to probably be a free to Fenagh, I'd imagine, and there's going to be a tussle down here where Dan McLaughlin has come in a little bit heavy-handed, and Aidan Flynn ends up on the ground. I think Aidan wasn't prepared to let the ball go when he probably should have, and Dan McLaughlin was just making sure that Fenagh took possession of the ball, and the referee's probably not going to have much to do here, although he's having a chat with Kevin Mallon, and the two of them will have a little conflab here and decide what to do. He has reached for the book, so there might be a card here. I expect potentially Dan McLaughlin to be spoken to by the referee, and there's going to be a hot ball as well, which is probably the bigger penalty at this point. But I think Dan McLaughlin's intrusion into the discussion has resulted in a changeover of the possession from a side or free kick to Fenagh to a throw ball, and no card issued. So only 15 seconds left here of the 4 minutes that were announced, but it's broken down to Shane Rinn from that Donal Rinn pass, and it goes back on the Leitrim Gaels side towards David Brown. David Brown nicely around Tom Gilheany, creates a bit of space for himself. Jack Gilheany closes him down, but it's David Brown now lays it off to number 4, Aaron McLaughlin for Leitrim Gaels. Ewan Tracy on the far side, back to David Brown. They seem content now just to hold possession to the half-time whistle, and we are at the half-time as Michael McGurl calls play to a close for the first half of this game, and it's a nice lead here for Leitrim Gaels, 1-6 to 3 points, a 6-point lead for Leitrim Gaels as they came into this game, and Fenagh 2 goal chances there for Ryan O'Rourke. Probably the difference between these two sides at this moment in time, TP.
Yes, possibly even a third good goal chance that we're going through there. This lead, it means that Leitrim Gaels can sit back and pack the defence a little bit better and hit Fenagh attack now. It leaves them in a comfortable enough position going into the second half. As I said, there's no game won at half time, but it just leaves them in that position that they can pick their shots and pick their passes and take it easy. Absolutely. Well, so we're going to take a quick break here for you for the second half. We'll be back in a few minutes for commentary of the second half of this Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship clash here on leitrimga.ie.
And you're very welcome back here to the second half of this Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship quarter-final between Leitrim Gaels and Fenagh St. Caillins. Leitrim Gaels definitely the happier side at half-time. They lead 1-6 to 3 points here as referee Michael McGurl gets ready for the second half here. One change on the Fenagh side. Number 20 Shane Smith replaces 12 Aaron Smith on the Fenagh side. It's also we can kind of suspect we'll confirm what we suspected in the first half. Donal Rinn is carrying a bit of a knock. Probably will stay on given the nature of the teams and the importance of that team. But I expect him to be a fairly laboured force through the second half as Ryan O'Rourke comes out there to challenge and win the ball. That's great work by Ryan O'Rourke under pressure from the Leitrim Gaels defence. He manages to get a bit of space for himself, gets it back to 15. That's Fergal McLaughlin. McLaughlin already with 2 points. Comes back off the crossbar. We've seen that for Fenagh a couple of times today as David Brune breaks free and gets fouled, but referee not interested in a free. Ends up in the hands of 27 Shane Finn. He's deemed now to have been fouled back there by a Fenagh man. Fenagh man on the ground, but we haven't seen what happened there. But he just looks to have fell awkwardly. Fergal McLaughlin nursing a sore shoulder there. He would be another huge loss if he were unable to continue, but get a bit of treatment there from the Fenagh medical team. And Sean Chandler now with the ball in hand, and he's got a opportunity here to take a bit of a breather while Fergal McLaughlin gets a break and gets some attention down on the 21-metre line for Fenagh. Referee Michael McGurl goes in to take a look, see if maybe this could be taken off the field, but at the moment he's happy for play to continue. McLaughlin back in action here now, and he just gets a drink of water, and we'll be back with Sean Chandler in just a moment. Sean now looking for options. Aaron McLaughlin shows ahead of him, but more shouts of how long from the crowd. It worked for them in the first half. Will it work in the second? No, that's a loose pass, so it's come out on the Fenagh side, and that's Dan McLaughlin. He's taken some fairly heavy hits from Leitrim Gaels players, but Judge Tavor carried the ball, and it's going to be a foul here and a free kick for Leitrim Gaels. Colin Morton looks to get the ball in long, comes in towards number 12 Ewan Tracy, and he gets out ahead of his man, and great ball in there towards Aidan Flynn. Aidan Flynn, will he get on the end of it? He does get on the end of it, but he just can't control it and miscontrols it out over the end line, and that has been given as a 50.
Yeah, I thought it hit of Aidan Flynn's head there actually,
but it looked I didn't quite see that, but it's given as a 50. That's all that matters, and Martin Feeney just steps into the pitch to make sure the ball is in the right place, and it'll be an opportunity maybe here for Donal Rinn. Looks to be laboured out there on the pitch, TP, as Brendan Flynn makes his way a little bit quicker this time. He makes his way forward to kick this one.
Yes indeed, but he at least he jogged up the field that time, so as I say, he's a vital part of the team for kicking these long range frees, so as I say, we'll wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, so Leitrim Gaels probably slightly fortunate to have this 45, but a chance now to add to his tally already, but that's gone to the left and wide, and maybe justice served in a certain way there, because I'm not sure that was a Leitrim Gaels 45, but it ends up with probably how it should have been in the first place. A Shane Doonan kick out now for Fenagh with a chance to go. No score yet in the second half, still 1-6 to 3 points here. A 6-point lead for Leitrim Gaels as they look to tighten things up and maybe keep Fenagh out of this, but with Ryan and Reardon O'Rourke on one side of the field, you can never be quite sure that there's going to be no more goal opportunities given up as Jack Flynn takes possession here in towards Aidan Flynn, his brother, and kicks on the full back here, and he takes a nice little spin, and that's a right kick from distance, but it's gone to the right and wide, and Aidan Flynn will be disappointed with that, as
yes, he had all done all the hard work, had beaten his man and just pulled it to the right and wide there. I do see Donal Rinn all right. He seems to be struggling out there at the moment, so it could be only a matter of time before he has to come to the line.
Well, I think that's probably why Leitrim Gaels have been able to get a little bit more dominance around that midfield area, is that Donal Rinn seems to have been taken out of the equation. He's on the pitch all right, but just struggling with mobility at the moment as that breaks down to Reardon O'Rourke. That's well in, should be a free to Fenagh, and it is, as David Brune, I think, or James Flynn maybe just a little bit left the foot in. No malice, just it's been just an unfortunate collision, but it's left Reardon down on the field getting attention. We've seen a lot of the physio for Fenagh today.
Yes, but again, just slightly late. I don't think there was, as you say, any malice in it now, so just a slightly late challenge.
Yeah, Jack Gilheeney with the ball in hand, but he's got options out to the right hand side if he wants to take a quick one, although that seems to be closed down now by Aidan Flynn as he goes backwards to Mark Keegan. Keegan then plays it back towards Aaron McLaughlin, the substitute for Fenagh. Came on towards the end of the first half as we've a bit of a hand passing drill going on in the midfield for Fenagh now, but Donal Rinn in possession towards Jack Gilheeney. Gilheeney now looking for options. He's got Tom outside him. Tom plays the ball inside towards Oisin, and Oisin has a great effort there. It's a great shot there from Fenagh, but unfortunately just caught in the wind and it's gone to the right and wide. And how valuable are these opportunities? They're going to keep coughing them up.
Yes, we feel that you want to get a score on the board very shortly now, just to close the deficit there.
Brendan Flynn again with the ball at his feet. He's looking to pick out a player, and I suppose Colin Morton will be the obvious target here, but he's gone to the left of the field and it's going to end up on the Fenagh side, I think, although David Brune hadn't read the script, and he gets a touch off that and ends up back in the Leitrim Gaels' hands in shape of Colin Morton under pressure from Jack Gilheeney, but he gets the ball away out to the far side to Aidan Flynn. Aidan Flynn with loads of time out there. Almost looked like he was angling for a shot, but decides to keep possession. Ewan Tracy now recycles it over here towards Sean Chandler. Sean Chandler with a couple of options ahead of him, looking to get the ball into Enda Morton, but Morton well marshalled in there by Conor Dwyer of Fenagh. And it comes back outside now to David Brune. David Brune looking to get something going again here for Leitrim Gaels, and he shoots from distance. That's a high ball, but it looks to be going just into the hands of Conor or of Shane Doonan in goals, and even with that wind or the sun in his eyes, he managed to read that really, really well, knocked it down for himself, and he's cleared it down this side, and it's going to be Fenagh who break again through Dan McLaughlin into Jack Gilheeney, and a lovely little skip past Conor Guckey in there from Gilheeney. Nice little rugby sidestep there. Obviously the player well known as part in the AIL side, Belvedere in Dublin as well. He's well accomplished in various different codes, but rugby one of his skill sets, of course. And Ryan O'Rourke now with an opportunity from a free kick here, just under the stand side here, about 30 yards out from goal, to cut the deficit by a single point, maybe if he gets his target here. But he'd fancy a player of Ryan's ability to add to his tally today. And that's a really high effort from Ryan O'Rourke, and it's dropped perfectly over the bar. Great score for Fenagh St. Caillins, and in fact that's Ryan O'Rourke's first score of the day. Two fantastic one-on-one goal opportunities going to Beggin in the first half by inches, and I think to see a player of his calibre only managing his first score in the 37th minute tells you maybe a little bit about Fenagh's challenge today. It just hasn't really happened. Yes,
defensively wise, Leitrim Gaels have done very well there. They're closing it out. They're not giving the opportunities to Ryan in there, so
yeah, it's come out high now towards Conor Guckey, and he catches that unopposed, and he just continues, whistles sound for the mark, but he just runs on and has a player outside him in the shape of Aidan Flynn. Flynn has an effort, and that's gone to the left and wide, and maybe rushed his effort a little bit there, but it's a let-off for Fenagh, and Conor Guckey, and great piece of fielding from him in the middle of the ground, and having him back for Leitrim Gaels, although the referee now has gone in to have a chat with the umpires, and I'm not quite sure what he has seen, but he's obviously gone in for a little discussion about something, and he has sent Enda Morton away from him, and I suppose Michael McGurl has seen something he's not happy with, and he's going to have a conversation. Seems to be okay. He's now indicated it was wide. I'm not sure if maybe he had indicated it was a 45 or there was a touch, but anyway, it's come outside now towards Fenagh's side. A touch on the foot from Owen McLaughlin, but it's back inside then to Leitrim Gaels, and Ewan Tracy again on the attack, and over towards Aaron McLaughlin. McLaughlin looking for something, movement ahead of him, doesn't quite see it. Shane Wren back in possession now. Shane Wren looking to David Brune. David Brune with a good ball out ahead of Aidan Flynn. Flynn comes out, calls the mark, under pressure from the Fenagh player, but he gets the mark, and the whistle sounds, and Flynn now with the opportunity to have a shot at goal. And he hasn't had much luck from this kind of range in the last few minutes, so he'd be looking to settle the nerves a little bit with a score here, but looking to extend the lead from 1-6 out to 1-7. But unfortunately,
yes, he's got
that's gone over the bar, and it's a good score from Aidan Flynn to cut the deficit.
Yes,
Sorry, to increase the leads, I should say.
Yeah. Aidan has been causing a lot of problems in there. While he's not transferring them into scores, he's getting an awful lot of possession.
Yeah, that looks to be onto Ewan Tracy, but it's caught well over the head of Ewan Tracy by Conor Dwyer. Conor Dwyer on to Owen McLaughlin. McLaughlin outside is now in the hands of Tom Gilhaney. He cuts back inside looking for support, finds it in shape of Mark Keegan. Keegan down into the corner towards Ryan O'Rourke. He's well out. He's been out first all day, but he's been forced out, as you've said a couple of times, TP, every time. Back to Reardon O'Rourke now. Reardon looking to create something. Reardon with a shot on the left foot from distance, and that's a great score from Reardon O'Rourke on the run. Finds himself his second score of the day, and Fenagh, you kind of feel like beginning to get back into this game and could create opportunities if they've given a bit more ball.
Yes, they seem to have got, the last two attacks, they seem to have got more penetration, and it looked more convincing that they are going to pull back a few scores.
Brendan Flynn now looking to kick the ball out, and it's going to be an opportunity to get the ball restarted here for Leitrim Gaels. The ball goes out wide to the left-hand side, but it's going to go out over the sideline, and that's unfortunate from a Leitrim Gaels point of view, as Fenagh now get the opportunity, but now equally wasteful. Fenagh make the same mistake and hand possession back to Leitrim Gaels, and I think we have a player down. I'm not quite sure who it is in the clump offside. Maybe Mark Keegan on the far side looks to have picked up an injury as well, so Fenagh could be in danger of maybe losing a second player.
It's Oisin McLaughlin actually.
Down here into the corner, it's going to be Stephen Goldrick, keeps the ball in, but deemed to have been fouled and absolutely pushed back by Mark Keegan, who is not the person on the ground at the far end of the pitch. But yeah, the referee Kevin Mallon has come in to have a look at that situation on the far side, but it doesn't look great from the Fenagh player's point of view.
I think it's Oisin McLaughlin now that's down, is it?
We can't quite see who it is. There's a face there on the screen. Obviously you can see who it is now there. TP, you'd know them better than I would.
Yeah.
And a bit of a concern from the Fenagh point of view, because they can't really afford to lose anybody from their starting 15. Their first 15 are very strong, but they lose a bit of quality after that, TP.
Yes, it's maybe limited a panel enough, and considering the Donald seems to be slightly carrying injury out there, we don't need another one at this stage. When there seems to be a little bit of momentum coming back into the Fenagh attack there, so this, as I say, it's not good news from a Fenagh point of view.
I suppose we might remind ourselves really how small a parish Fenagh really is in terms of being competitive at a senior championship level here in the county. And when you compare it to towns like Carrick or Mohill or Ballinamore, to get a team that's as competitive as they are at this level is a huge achievement for a small rural parish.
Yes, indeed, but you would expect fellas, these fellas have had a great underage pedigree, and you'd expect to bring it up now to the senior levels. Pushing is number 13 walking towards the sideline there.
Yeah, the Fenagh bench is looking for clarification as to whether he can continue or not, and Joe Flynn now down in discussions on the bench here with some of his officials to find out what changes, or to maybe decide what changes are going to make. Shane Rinn in the meantime has the ball, plays a lot 1-2 with Stephen Goldrick back there, back to Shane Rinn again on his left foot, but no opportunity to shoot. Back to Stephen Goldrick, and back out here now to Ewan Tracy. Tracy might fancy a shot here, but he goes back to recycle it again. Back to David Brown. David Brown looking to get something going here for Leitrim Gaels. Moves into the space that's created in that corner, and he goes right round the Fenagh defence, and he's created a goal opportunity for himself here, but he fists it over the bar, takes the safe option, adds a score to the scoreboard. 1-8 to 5 points there. A great run for David Broom, but worryingly from a Fenagh point of view, didn't really seem to be much of a challenge there against him.
No, he seemed to cut through the defence there. Oisin McLaughlin, the good news, is back on, but
Colin Morton collects the ball from that kick out and has a long range effort. He's trying to lob the goalkeeper from there, and that is a serious score from Colin Morton, and sometimes we see him shooting from that kind of range. It can end up anywhere, but that's a perfect example of what's capable of when it goes right, and that's a fantastic score by Colin Morton, and it's one of those that gives a lift to everyone. You can hear the reaction of the crowd here as well, TP.
Yes, indeed, and there was a danger that it was going to drop under the bar there for, I thought, at one stage, but it carried.
So now a 7-point lead for Leitrim Gaels as Colin Morton comes forward and catches that ball, finds Shane Rinn outside him into Aidan Flynn. Aidan Flynn gets away from the Fenagh defender. Enda Morton in space now, but it's well intercepted by Fenagh. Could have been an argument for a free kick there, but it's broken Fenagh's way, and they move forward here now in the shape of Donald Rinn. He looks to be hampered very much so by that injury, and Jack Gilhaney plays the ball in towards Ryan O'Rourke. Ryan O'Rourke takes a run at Shane Finn and gets around him. And that's a great move by Ryan O'Rourke. Some great footwork to get away from the defenders. He tries to get it back, but it's intercepted down there by Sean Chandler. Sean Chandler had a great move there by Tom Gilhaney to break the ball free from the grasp of Chandler, but it ends up back on the Leitrim Gaels side, and now there's a foul on Leitrim Gaels, I think.
But as Ryan Rourke went through there was 4 Leitrim Gaels defenders back around him, so he was run out of options very fast there. So
James Flynn now in possession as a substitution happens on the Fenagh side, and number 19 Niall Butler has replaced Fergal McLaughlin on the Fenagh team. So Fergal McLaughlin, his day is done. Niall Butler comes in, and he's a big man, Niall Butler. He'll add something around the middle of the field there to the challenge for these kickouts that maybe they've been lacking with that injury to Donal Rinn. Sean Chandler under pressure back there, deemed to have been fouled again, and James Flynn takes that kick quickly and it finds Aidan Flynn. Aidan slips but manages to retain possession, and he definitely hopped the ball twice that time. He called it right, as Michael McGurl agrees with you, and it's going to be a free to Fenagh. Just been sent back a couple of steps just to take it from the right place, and it's into Donal Rinn. Donal Rinn, he's barely able to move out there, and he's been some soldier for Fenagh over the years in terms of this. It's Mark Keegan now. He's looking to build something off. Colin Morton comes in and just knocks the ball out of his possession. Yeah. He is some animal when you're trying to get off him. It's just he's some man. I wouldn't like to be out in the field against him, but he's he has a lot of different strands to his game, really, that he is he's feared, I think, across the county in terms of what he can bring.
Yeah, but he has a great skill level as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen that very evident today. His midfield partner now, Conor Guckian, saying anything you can do, I can do better. It's a great ball in from Guckian into Donal Morton. He's taken on the defender, he's got around him, and he's created the opportunity for himself, but that shot has gone over the bar. A great score from Enda Morton there, and I think maybe these potentially goal scoring opportunities, and Leitrim Gaels seem happy just to keep that scoreboard ticking over and rack up the points. Yeah,
but they're in a happy position that they can keep tagging on points now, and that will just leave a bigger distance for Fenagh. Fenagh don't look like they have the threat at the moment, and they're isolating in the Morton one-on-one inside with the defence in there, and he's a super target man inside.
Absolutely, it's an 8-point lead now for Leitrim Gaels, 110 to 5 points as we come into this water break, and we look at the Fenagh bench here talking to their team as they come off at the 3-quarter mark period. What do you say to Fenagh now to rally the troops?
It's going to be very difficult, but I've seen a game here last week where the team was down 11 points and they did come back to draw it in the end, but this is a long way back for Fenagh. They don't look like they have the penetration up front at the moment. Their backs is starting to get pulled around the place. Aidan Flynn is dictating what's happening there, and Enda Morton inside is a huge threat. So the cards are with Leitrim Gaels at the moment going into the final quarter of this game, I'd have to say.
Absolutely. Well, if you're Joe Flynn in the Fenagh huddle saying his last few words, or Paul Pryor in his huddle over there in the far corner for Leitrim Gaels, as Fenagh come back out, they look like they mean business now. They've come back out much quicker than you'd expect, maybe to put a bit of pressure on Leitrim Gaels to come back out. But there's 8 points between the sides here with about 14 or 15 minutes left in this game. It's all to play for. Of course, we saw a 9-point victory for Fenagh last year. At the moment, it's looking like that might be flipped on its head at the moment if things continue the way they are. It's going to be important to see, can Donal Rinn, he looks to be moving into full forward at the moment because his mobility is affected. We think it's a bit of a twinge on the hamstring that he just pulled up in a run earlier in the first half, and it'll be interesting to see how he can continue, if he can continue for the next 15 minutes or so. He's such an integral part of this Fenagh side that they need him on the pitch to have any chance maybe in around the square of pulling off a surprise and see what happens. But we'll see, is that a masterstroke by the Fenagh management to make that happen, and as the free gets awarded to Fenagh on the far side there, and it's Owen McLaughlin takes a quick outside. Jack Kilheeney now in possession, and he finds Fenagh a pair of hands in front of him, comes in there towards Ryan O'Rourke, who clashes with a Leitrim Gaels player but comes away with the ball from Leitrim Gaels' point of view, and is back inside here to David Brune. And David Brune has been the playmaker mostly today for Leitrim Gaels. Plays to Colin Morton. Morton looks for that long ball in. He slips as he kicks it, but it's going to be in towards his brother Enda. But it's a fantastic piece of fielding there for Mark Keegan. Knocks it down to himself. He gets in ahead of Morton and just drops it to the ground and picks the ball up. And now we have Niall Butler in possession. A long range ball in there towards Donal Rinn. Could be dangerous to manage to get a hand on it, but can't direct it goalwards. And Brendan Flynn comes away with the ball. He finds Colin Morton, but that's a great piece of work there from Fenagh as they turn the ball over in there again. Fantastic work from the men in red and black as Conor Dwyer comes out of the ball. Not quite sure how he came out of the ball with that, but he did. A fantastic work there, and Jack Kilheeney recycles it again over on the far side, and it's going to be Niall Butler looks for options in front from Mushin McLaughlin, comes in A great ball in there and a great score by Oisin McLaughlin as he finds the target from distance on the far side, 21 yards out, just inside the sideline.
Yeah, a good point there by Oisin, but probably at this stage there may be a goal required to cut the deficit. But
I think it's a psychological lift as well. A goal might be a huge addition to the Fenagh side. But as you mentioned a couple of times so far, TP, Leitrim Gaels have defended well. Just that green and purple wall has been ahead of the Fenagh attackers every time they've got possession in goal scoring opportunities. It's on top of Conor Guckian there. He gets a touch, but it's Jack Caillins who breaks it down. Ends up with Colin Morton getting a flick to Ewan Tracy, gets a bit of space for himself and has an effort on distance, and that's a great score from Ewan Tracy. Great goal, a great point there for the Leitrim Gaels man, and they now push back out to an 8-point lead, 111 to 6 points the score here in Avon Money Park. Sean McDermott in this quarter-final clash as both sides eager to put their name in the draw for that semi-final that happens later on this evening. That's unfortunate there by Jack Caillins. He runs into his manager Joe Flynn. Thankfully no one injured, but Caillins can't keep the ball in.
Plus the pressure, unfortunately, back on the Fenagh defence again. Now they're getting it difficult to get. They've changed their strategy by moving Donal Rinn into full forward, but then they've probably left around the middle of the field a bit weaker.
Colin Morton with the ball in there towards, looks to be Stephen Goldrick. Probably foul, but advantage played in here. And Ewan Tracy, again, throw ball suspicion, but let on with it. And Stephen Goldrick now fouled as it's going to be a kick in and 13 metres added to the offence for something that was obviously said by Jack Caillins, and he's going to be pulled back for a conversation with Michael McGurl. And we haven't seen a card in this game yet. It's been remarkably clean. Oh, we did see one yellow card in the first half. That's a definite yellow card. Michael McGurl absolutely saying I'm going to show a card in this game, and that was
stamping his authority. But he's had quite a good game now, I have to say, the referee.
Yeah, no, I think he's had a really, really good game. I don't think you could find fault with anything really that's happened in the game so far, although I'm sure teams will try. Yes. It's going to be Stephen Goldrick here with an opportunity for his 4th point of the game. He can put 9 points between the sides. A good score there from Stephen Goldrick as he makes it 112 to 6 points here. And Leitrim Gaels looking to control the game a bit more as they've just been dominant really from the end of the first quarter on. A couple of goal chances missed by Fenagh, probably coming back to rule them now, and going to have a chat with Aidan Flynn in terms of discipline now.
Yes, I think Aidan has been playing the game there. He's been quite cute, slowing it down on that, so he's using his head.
Yeah, there's been a couple of opportunities maybe where Michael McGurl could have taken that action. He has now issued a yellow card to Aidan Flynn, so it'll mean he'll just have to behave himself for the last 10 or 12 minutes of this game. Shane Doonan runs into trouble and finds a teammate, but now Mark Keegan looking for an option in front of him, and Conor Dwyer provides the outlet as he carries it across midfield and back in then to Niall Butler there. Butler out around midfield now as Donal Rinn has been moved in towards the square, and the ball's coming in towards Donal Rinn now from Jack Caillins, and Donal Rinn up amongst 3 Leitrim Gaels defenders, and Rinn wins that, knocks it down to Ryan Rourke. Ryan looking to create a bit of space for himself, gets it inside to, looks like Reardon, and back out here to, and this is Reardon Rourke now, has a shot. That's a great effort there. Will it stay inside the post? It will, and that's a great score from Reardon Rourke, his 3rd point of the game. As we see a substitution on the Leitrim Gaels side as Oisin Curley comes on to replace Shane Rinn for Leitrim Gaels. Oisin Curley has featured in most of the games so far. Picked up a hand injury in one of the games and left on, but he has played in most games so far for Leitrim Gaels this year. Has chipped in with a couple of scores when required as well. He replaces Shane Rinn on the Leitrim Gaels side as Brendan Flynn takes another kick out here. Jack Caillins under that, wins it well and knocks it down towards number 18 for Fenagh, which is Aaron McLaughlin, but it breaks on the Leitrim Gaels side as Sean Chandler takes an impact to the face, I think unintentionally, but I would expect to see a yellow card for that here, because I think he went for the ball and a combination of maybe dropping the head and... Yeah,
a bit of a high challenge there, right, but again, there was nothing malicious in it, but anything above the shoulder, it's an automatic yellow card now. Yeah,
so yellow card issue now. For us saying there was no yellow cards, now we've had a scatter of them in the last couple of minutes, but Ewan Tracy in possession now. Ball out there will be intercepted, I imagine, by Fenagh. Well won there by, I think, the full-back Owen McLaughlin. And now Tom Gilheeney out to Reardon Rourke, and he has a run at Shane Fane down in the corner down there. Plays it inside. A great show by O'Sheen. Back to Tom Gilheany, and now Jack Gilheany with a ball looped into the edge of the square, and that's going to go over the bar. And a great score there from Jack Gilheany. I don't think it's quite what he intended, though. I think he was angling to drop that into the box, but will he take the score, or would he have preferred the ball in around the houses?
He would take the score at this particular time, and I'd say he was trying for Donald at the far post there. Donald was moving in, but them situations are a 50-50 chance, really, but at this stage they have to try.
5 minutes of regulation time left on the clock. There will be a few minutes more for substitutions and injuries, of course, but it's again falling out to Jack Gilheany, and he breaks that down well to Niall Butler, and Conor Dwyer now on the attack from Fenagh. He takes it well from Butler on his knees, and it's pushing it back, but it's play on, and it's going to be a great piece of work there from Ryan O'Rourke, and he plays a 1-2 nicely with Owen McLaughlin, and deemed to have been fouled there by David Brune, and it's going to be a free into Fenagh. And
you feel that's another card there he was going through.
I think the ref might just keep his cards in his pockets here. We have another substitution for Leitrim Village, Leitrim Gaels. Michael McManus comes on to replace Stephen Goldrick. And again, it's just a case of winding down the clock for Leitrim Gaels, trying to kind of break up the momentum of the game. But Stephen Goldrick makes way. He's had a good game for Leitrim Gaels. 4 points from him as Michael McManus enters the fray. And that's a good score there for Ryan O'Rourke. His second point of the day. He's had a very quiet day, TP.
Yes, but he's been well marshalled in there by the Leitrim Gaels defence, I have to say. Again, he had the 2 goal scoring opportunities probably that would have made a significant difference. But
Brendan Flynn now looks to find a Leitrim Gaels set of hands from this kick out. He's lost the last few with that, and that's a good pair of hands there. Again, a great call for the mark from Owen McLaughlin, but he's played on, and the ball comes in high, and it's going to be Reardon O'Rourke gets an advantage there. Will he try and engineer a goal scoring opportunity? He shoots from distance, left foot, and the umpires look happy, reach for the white flag, and that's another great score by Reardon O'Rourke, his 4th of the day today, and he has been a real live wire. He's probably been the best forward for Fenagh today.
Yes, he's shown well for them, that ball now, and Fenagh have picked it up again now, but it's too little too late, I'd be afraid.
Well, we talked about gaps between the two sides when there were 9 points clear. It's now only 5. So there is a bit of time left, and stranger things have happened.
Correct.
Brendan Flynn now looks to get Leitrim Gaels' hand on this. Colin Morton under this, but it's going to break towards Enda Morton, and great work there by the 2 Morton brothers. Enda Morton gets possession, it's going to go across the line. No, it hasn't. It's been kept in, and it's Michael McManus under pressure from Fenagh, deemed to have overcarried the ball, and now Fenagh have an opportunity to get down the field again, and you have the feeling that 1 or 2 scores could be the difference between this and the end. And Ryan O'Rourke now very far from goal as he makes a bit of space for himself to get an opportunity to create something here for Reardon. Gives a little hand signal to him, get out of his way, but it's been caught in there and well dealt with by Jack Flynn at the back for Leitrim Gaels. But that could be a big mistake, as it's kick there from 13. O'Sheen McLaughlin had a shot in anger, but it's been well picked up by Brendan Flynn, but he's probably carried that over the end line. Not quite clear from the umpire as to what exactly has gone on here, but the seems to have given a 50, and Brendan not happy with that decision. But Fenagh don't care, they're all about taking this quickly. And
there was a goal chance there. I think O'Sheen McLaughlin had a shot on the ground. It was a half chance, but
yeah, it just swung at it with the left boot, and it just kind of trickled into the hands of Brendan Flynn. But they do have a chance here now maybe to get that ball in around again. And O'Sheen McLaughlin on this 50, and they'll be looking to get it in. Donald Rain and Niall Butler, all the big men are in around the edge of the square, and chance here for Fenagh to maybe capitalise on that as the ball comes in. It's low and it's nice and hard in there towards, but it's well dealt with by, and that's a Leitrim Gaels man dragged to the ground. It looks to be Conor Guckian been pulled down, and he has the experience to maybe kill a bit of time here on the clock. But James Flynn now looking to get the ball out, and he finds the hands of David Brune. David Brune gets away from his opposite number, and he finds Sean Chandler out here on this right wing. He's got Michael McGuinness ahead of him. He comes into contact with Tom Gilheany and unceremoniously dumped to the ground, but he gets the free. And again, at this stage, Leitrim Gaels just quite happy to kill that clock as Michael McManus plays a short 1-2 with Sean Chandler. He gets it back then to Colin Morton. Morton looking for options ahead of him, gets blocked down, and it's going to fall on the Fenagh side. And it's going to be Owen McLaughlin who comes away with that, finds Jack Gilheany. Another chance for Fenagh to break. David Brune reads the situation very well and intercepts that pass. He's been everywhere today for Leitrim Gaels as Conor Guckian gets that long ball in towards Enda Morton. He's one-on-one with Mark Keegan. Who's going to win this challenge? Morton gets there first, gets possession. Will he take on Morton? He's got the pace to get by Keegan if he can, but Keegan, fairly hardy man to get past at the best of times, and gets it back outside then to 15 for... No, it's Oisin Curley for Leitrim Gaels, and comes back outside. Ewan Trace is going to get there first ahead of Owen McLaughlin. He chips that up to Michael McManus. Did he touch it on the ground? Referee seems happy enough he didn't, and it's going to be a free in for a foul by Owen McLaughlin on Michael McManus, and a chance for Leitrim Gaels just to maybe put that little bit of gap back on the score sheet as we approach the end of the regulation 60 minutes. No sign yet from the sideline as to how many minutes added to the 60. But there will be a few. There was a couple of substitutions. You can see the discussion now happening between Eamon O'Grady and the referee via the intercom, and we'd expect that announcement very quickly as Ewan Tracy prepares to shoot for Leitrim Gaels. And that is looking to be fairly good. Just cuts inside the post, just over the crossbar, inside the post. It doesn't matter where it goes over the bar. It's 113 to 10 points now, back to a 6-point game here for Leitrim Gaels. They lead as we enter injury time here in what would be a first ever appearance for Leitrim Gaels in a Leitrim senior semi-final. Can they win this game? They've never been past this stage before, in only their second ever senior championship campaign. Fenagh, of course, it's been a while since the cup named after the town has been in the town. TP, it's been a long number of years. 1932, I think, is the last time.
Not even I can remember that one now. But
some might accuse you of it, but it's definitely not a case of too many been around from those days. It could be another year, 89 years of hurt. It could be another year for Fenagh before they get themselves back into this stage again.
One feels this Mayo curse could be spreading to clubs in Fenagh.
In terms of the game, though, Fenagh not dead and buried just yet. We're a minute and a half into injury time here. Ryan O'Rourke has an opportunity to add to his score for the day, but will he elect to drop it short in and see if the bit of pinball that happens when these balls drop short can happen, and maybe a miracle goal here to really set the world alight, or will he just take his point? He looks to be going for the score, and that's a score from Ryan O'Rourke. Makes it a 5-point game again, but is it a case of too little too late? 4 minutes goes up here. There's 4 minutes left in the game. So interesting to see how this pans out now for the next little while or so, because we seem to have played nearly 2 minutes of that, but I think from what I indicate, that's probably 4 minutes from now, I'd imagine, TP, is it?
No, it'll be 4 minutes from the 60 minutes is up. So
we seem to have already played 2 minutes of that 4. But it's at the referee's discretion now as to what happens. But Leitrim Gaels currently with a 5-point lead, 13 to 11 points the score. They've won that sideline ball, and at this moment it's all about possession, as Fenagh tried to take it quickly, but of course not their ball to take. And it's going to be a Leitrim Gaels kick on the far side. Colin Morton now in possession. He'll take for as long as he can get away with that, I imagine, at this stage of the game. And as you would expect anyone in his position to do, a good ball in there towards Ellen Morton, but it's going to be intercepted by the cornerback Dan McLaughlin for Fenagh. McLaughlin looking to get it forward quickly, and that's going to be an opportunity now for 18. That's Aaron McLaughlin to build something here for Fenagh. Aaron McLaughlin looking for options ahead of him. He's got Jack Gilheany with space. Can he make it? He can. He keep it in on the far side. Absolutely. Looking to drop it in around the houses. Donal Ryn's in there. Donal Ryn, he hasn't been able to move for the last few months. That's a bit of a push in the back, but Fenagh don't care. They get away with it. And it's got back to Ryn now. Ryn outside here to number 10 for Fenagh. That's Tom Gilheany. He'll have an effort. It's gone in high, and it's gone to the right of the goals and wide. And I think that probably sums up Fenagh's day.
Yes, they've had a few pot shots like that probably shots the word on, and they weren't successful with them, and it's been disappointing from that point of view. But Leitrim Gaels have had the edge for the majority of the game, bar the last maybe 10-15 minutes. Fenagh did show a bit of the rejuvenation there and got back into it, but as I say, it was probably too late.
Yeah, Brendan Flynn now with a kick out as we go into what could be the last minute of the game here. Colin Morton in under that, knocks the ball down, ends up in the hands of Michael McManus, gets it to Enda Morton inside to his brother Colin looking for options in front, very little to aim at. Ball goes in long, should be the goalkeeper's ball, but it's going to be pressure applied by Aidan Flynn inside, but ball comes back out here to Owen McLaughlin. Can Fenagh pull something out of this? They've got a couple of seconds left on the clock, but they can get the ball in round. Is 5 points too much? Jack Gilheany now with a ball inside to Reardon O'Rourke. Reardon has options in front of him again. He plays it to Niall Smith. Niall Smith looking for people to play the ball to, but that's a loose pass, and it's broken down to Aaron McLaughlin. You can tell by the reaction from TP there that it's disappointing as it comes out here.
It wasn't the pass I was expected there.
No, 27. Shane Finn, he's had a good game for Leitrim Gaels. He came in today, his first start of the championship, and comes back towards his side, and Leitrim Gaels just recycling the ball here just to keep the possession. If they have the ball, they can't concede, but they've just let the ball away now, and it's going to be a chance here for Oisin McLaughlin to create something into Donal Rinn. He's been struggling with his mobility since an injury, but that's a great ball in towards Ryan O'Rourke, and the referee has called it back, and that's harsh. The referee could have played advantage there. It would have been the goal that Fenagh needed potentially, but it's going to be a free in, and I've no doubt that will be the controversial moment. The referee well within his rights to give the free there, TP, but you would have loved to have seen maybe what might have developed from a Fenagh point of view had that been allowed to develop.
Yes, he probably blew it up a shade early. He could have seen how it developed on that, but he is entitled to blow it up. But it's disappointing. It would have been just a chance. I know, as I said, time is running out, but there's another opportunity for Fenagh maybe again for a goal chance. So
Oisin McLaughlin brings it back to within 4 points of game as we get the substitution for Leitrim Gaels. 19 David Regan replaces number 12 Ewan Tracy for Leitrim Gaels, and David Regan has been an integral part of the Leitrim Gaels side over the last few years. Played very little in the championship this year. I know you saw him last week in the junior championship. You were commenting on how much of an impact he made in that game. Picked up an injury, probably why we didn't see him as involved today.
Yes, he was excellent on that day. He was the big threat up front for Leitrim Gaels, and I'd say he would have been a starter today only for I think he sustained a leg injury that day.
And of course we're here now, we're 5.5 minutes into the added time. I can't see the referee adding on much more time. There's 4 points within the game. Fenagh need to get this ball as far forward as they can. Jack Kilheeney in a bit of a tussle there, and could be an issue here with Sean Chandler. Referee calls the ball forward 13 metres, and the two have not quite finished their engagement with each other. The referee wants a word with them as well. Mark Keegan steps in to maybe just settle it down a little bit. The referee will note both names and probably show a yellow card to Sean Chandler for the original foul. And they've now moved it forward twice, which I don't know if you can do that, TP. But
no, it wouldn't be.
But I think
best practices.
I think the alternative was actually a second yellow card for Sean Chandler for knocking the ball out of the hand. So I think it's probably lesser of two evils from a Leitrim Gaels point of view. Ball in high now around the houses for Fenagh. What side's going to break on? It breaks on the Leitrim Gaels side, and Michael McGurr looking at his watch, and he does indeed blow the final whistle, and that is a historic victory for Leitrim Gaels. Their first ever appearance will be in 2 weeks' time in a semi-final of the Leitrim Senior Football Championship. Disappointment for Fenagh. 4 points separate the sides, but it's a reversal of last year's 9-point defeat. We talked about these sides meeting over years and Fenagh having that advantage over the last 5 or 6 years or so, and it seems to have finally swung the pendulum in Leitrim Gaels' favour. They progress to the semi-final. They'll be in the draw later on this evening. One team still to be decided, but Mohill, St Mary's and Leitrim Gaels will be in that hat in about 3 or 4 hours' time after the final semi-final. Glencairn, Hamilton and Ballinamore, they do battle here in Avonmoney Park Sean McDermott with a throw in at 4:30. Leitrim GA will be covering the game live on this stream. Do check us out here. John Lynch and Martin McGowan will be in on commentary duties for that particular game. For myself, Breffney Early, and from TP McLaughlin, thank you very much for joining us here today. TP, thanks very much for joining me.
Thanks very much, and the best luck to Leitrim Gaels. They probably had the shaded today on the day, so best of luck to them.
Fine performance from Leitrim Gaels, sees them into that semi-final. The best of luck to all 5 sides left in the championship, and we'll be back with you in a couple of hours' time with John Lynch and Martin McGowan for the final quarter-final of this weekend in the Connacht Gold Senior Football Championship. Over and out from here, Avonmoney Park, Sean McDermott.